All right, so Dajon, today 30 teams in 30 days. We're talking about the Sacramento Kings. They just locked up De'Aaron Fox to that 5-year deal, $195 million. They still have Buddy Hield. They lost Bojan. They got Luke Walton. They still have. I don't really know much people on this team. What's going on? What kind of Kings? What are they going to be?
Well, they're not going to be a playoff team. I'll tell you that for sure. They're going to be a bottom three seed, I think, in the West. This team is not talented, dude. Let's just be honest. This team is not talented. They lost Bogdan. Bogdan was probably their second best player behind Aaron Fox. Some might say Buddy Hield, but some may say Bogdan. Harrison Barnes is getting paid all that money. He hasn't done nothing since 2016, 2017 with the Golden State Warriors. I haven't seen Harrison Barnes even take one shot since then. He hasn't been doing anything. This team isn't talented. Yes, you got Marvin Bagley. He missed some games this past season. And I thought he will, but he missed a lot of games. And then they got rid of Harry Giles. Harry Giles is out there. I mean, I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox. Yes, that's probably the fastest backcourt in the NBA in Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox. Then you got Barnes, and then you got Marvin Bagley, and that's about it. Like then you got Blajika. Like I don't even know what the GM is doing with this Kings team. I don't see no veteran leadership on this team. If you're telling me Harrison Barnes is a veteran on my team, that team is not going to make the playoffs. That's number one. And then they just really don't have enough talent. They have zero bench at all. Luke Walton, I don't know what he's doing with these guys. He hasn't. They seem to regress last season. The season before that, they were the ninth seed. They were really in the playoff race until those last 10 games. They lost like seven. That was like seven. Those last 10, they got kicked out of the playoff race. And they just played worse with Luke Walton. And you see Buddy Hield, he moved him to the bench. You see Buddy was complaining, said he wanted out. I think they're probably going to have to trade Buddy because Buddy's not even returning their calls. Sacramento is just not a good team. We thought we saw some light 2 years ago when they were in the playoff hunt, and then last year they regressed, and now I think they're just back to square one. They're just not a talented team. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the Sacramento Kings, they're not a good ball team. They have De'Aaron Fox. I don't think that's a really good deal. What they gave him, I don't think he's worth that right now. If you want to argue that he's trending towards being a max player, then okay. But I don't give him that deal. I feel like they could have kept him. Given him something like maybe like 25 mil a year or like something like that, because no other, like, he's not going to leave you and go to another team and get maxed out like that. So I feel like they lost that negotiation there. They botched the Bojan trade. We obviously would he was supposed to go to Giannis, and they were supposed to get back Bledsoe and George Hill, but that
No,
didn't.
that's no. They were getting
DiVincenzo, I think.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, well, they botched that up. They could have got back a nice young piece for him, and I think they were gonna get maybe a draft pick or two. But they, obviously tampering. That was just bad all around. And now Buddy Hield doesn't. We heard all the rumors about Buddy Hield. He doesn't want to be there. He's not answering their calls. He's liking stuff with trade rumors on Twitter and stuff. So obviously that's not very good. So I mean, we look at this team. I don't know what they could do. I feel like they're their best bet. They're gonna be in the lottery again. They just gotta, like I say, they think De'Aaron Fox is that guy to start building that franchise around. But I don't think he is. Like, I mean, maybe I could be wrong in a couple of years. Hopefully, I am, because like if he's a good lottery pick. He's not a bust, but he's not obviously the other guys in the draft. But I feel like they once they need to strike gold in the lottery. And once they do that, then they could start moving forward. But I like what they're doing, committing, trying to build something around Darren Fox. You gotta, at some point start building something up, and that's what they're doing.
I mean, De'Aaron Fox. I look at De'Aaron Fox, and yes, you could say he's not a max player in terms of you see other guys getting the max. When we think of max plays, we think of the LeBrons, the Stephs, the Kawhis. But in terms of the rookie scale max, De'Aaron Fox is in that category for the rookie scale max. Because what you do is you draft a guy. Hopefully, you draft him in the top 10. You hope he becomes one of your best one of your best one or two best players, and that's what De'Aaron Fox has been. In order to keep him there, you're gonna have to give him that money. Because if I'm De'Aaron Fox, yes, okay, you don't want to give me the max. The max is about $32 million a season. If you don't want to give me that, and another team is offering me 27 mil, I'm taking that $27 million because I don't want to stay in Sacramento. In order for me to stay in Sacramento, you have to give me extra money. Nobody wants to be in Sacramento. It's a terrible franchise. They have no history. Now they had some couple winning seasons with Chris Webber and those boys, but that's about it. The GM stinks. Like it's just a terrible franchise. So if you're the Sacramento Kings and you're looking at your team, you let go of De'Aaron Fox. Your best player is Buddy Hield. And trust me, Buddy, I love Buddy Hield, but Buddy Hield he's just not going to be a best player on a playoff team. It's just not realistic. So if you're the Kings, and if you look at that draft, De'Aaron Fox, he's really been the fourth best player out of that draft because you got Tatum. I'd say Tatum was number one. Then I put Donovan Mitchell. Then you got Baum. And then De'Aaron Fox is really the fourth best player of that draft. And you got guys like John Collins. You got guys like Markkinen. Those guys, they're in that next tier. But De'Aaron Fox, he's not in that tier one with Tatum, Baum, and Donovan Mitchell. But he's definitely right at top of that tier too. So I can understand. I can understand him getting the max. I can understand them having to pay him because nobody's gonna want to come to Sacramento. And I'm looking at this team. It's just I just don't see. I don't even think Sacramento is interested in making the playoffs this year. I really don't because you let Bogdan go. He really is a good player, and you got 4 years, $72 million. You couldn't match that. You telling me you couldn't give Bogdanovich $18 million per season? That's essentially all he's getting from Atlanta. You couldn't give him that. If you're not prepared to give him that money, I don't know who you expect to come to Sacramento and give them money. I'm not coming to Sacramento for $18 million, especially if other teams are offering me that. At least with Bogdan, you had his rights. He had no choice. If you matched the offer, he would have had to stay. So I don't. Free agent. When was the last free agent that went to Sacramento? I really don't know. What was it? Trevor Ariza? They threw a lot of money at him. He
Yeah.
was past his prime, and they threw that money at him. That was the last free agent I knew that went to Sacramento. It's just guys just leaving like. Come on, you can't just be picking top five every year. Like you need to have a plan. You got three great young players. You got Buddy, you got Bagley, and you got De'Aaron Fox. Please put some pieces around these guys. You're gonna have to overpay some guys, but understand that's what you're gonna do. But I'm thinking Sacramento makes me think they don't want to win. They don't want to spend money, you
Well,
know, and they just don't want to win because obviously you're not bringing in any free agents. You're not bringing in any veteran presence on this team. You're just bringing in young guys and they're just leaving. You're drafting and letting guys leave. You're drafting and letting guys leave. We're tired of that. When was the last time Sacramento made the playoffs? They're not going to make it this year. And Luke Walton, he's doing a terrible job with this team because, like I said, they regress with Luke Walton. They regress on this watch. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to be better next season. I think they're probably even going to be worse because a lot of teams got better in the West. So
yeah.
I just really I don't know where this franchise goes from here.
Yeah, just in terms you said they need to put some pieces around Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox. Like if Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox is your best two players in the West, you're not getting very far. I don't even think those two as leaders on a team get you in the playoffs in the West. As presently constructed, like you might be if they put a solid surrounding cast around those guys, you might be able to fight for the 8 seed. But I feel like those guys, Buddy Hield is not a star. He's a solid role player on a championship team. He's an above average role player. He can shoot the lights out. He doesn't play much defense. And De'Aaron Fox, I'll give De'Aaron Fox, he has star potential. I'll give him that. But he's not quite there yet. So, I mean, you could start building around De'Aaron Fox. But I feel like Buddy Hield is that piece that you want to keep Buddy Hield, and they did that. You want to keep him on there, and then I don't know, you bring in some solid veterans, kind of like what the Grizzlies are doing. They had Ja Morant and they put a lot of solid veterans around him, and we could argue that Ja and De'Aaron Fox, they're about the same level as they are right now. So there's no reason why the Kings, can't be fighting for the 8 seed like the Grizzlies was. You bring some solid veterans, but I feel like Luke Walton, like we saw it with the Lakers. Like he didn't do a very good job there, and then they gave him this 5 year deal inside the Kings after just getting fired from the Lakers. And you like you said, they regress. So I feel like coaching is the problem there. They bring in some veterans and address the coaching situation. I think they'll be fine.
We've seen that De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield can lead a team to the playoffs in the West. They can with the right coaching. We just saw it 2 years ago. They were the 7th seed until those last few games where they just went on a terrible losing streak. Well, probably nobody probably could have predicted. So they can get there, and they're not going to be a top 6 seed. But if you're telling me they can't get the 8th seed, the 7th seed, if you're telling me like they can't fight with teams, they can't fight with New Orleans, teams like Portland, they could fight with those teams for that last seed in the Western Conference. Like not currently constructed, they can because they are not putting the pieces around those guys. But I think De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Marvin Bagley. I think if we're hyped up about New Orleans, if we're hyped up about Zion, Lonzo, and Brandon Ingram, you telling me De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley, and Buddy Hield with some great pieces around them, Harrison Barnes, you telling me they can't get at least the 8th seed? Because if New Orleans could, if we think New Orleans could, Sacramento should be able to do it too. But fact of the matter is, like you say, coaching is terrible. The GM is terrible. I don't know what's going on there. And honestly, this team just makes me sick. I'm just sick of talking about them right now.